from Ingolstadt. I have heard that you entered the Kamel GT Championship this year in the good old GTO car, so I wish you best of luck and a lot of success.
Best greetings to all drivers from the Audi GTO 90 Championship. Good success.
After last weekend being a historic meeting at Silverstone for all of your retro series, the Kamel GT Championship has taken the route to the land down under, where women glow and men plunder. It's round 3 of the historic and ever-great Kamel GT Championship live here on the global SimRacing channel. The crew to give you all these stats and storylines will be Adam Lindgren, joining myself, Stefan Schlacher. Turning knobs and pushing the buttons behind the scenes is our director, Sean Rex Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Butte. While not the only Australian circuit, it surely is the most famous track from the Australian continent. But to better get to know this track just south of Melbourne, let's head into a lap around with the GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Clayton McLeod in the GSRC Nissan, so let's do a lap around Phillip Island. The front stretch is definitely the longest straight of the track, but while you'd expect that to mean turn 1 is an obvious passing zone, in the Nissan you don't lift it off for do-hand. Instead, the first real turn is down into the southern loop. But you can really chuck the car into here, and you're actually slowing the car as you're turning around this long left-hander. Be careful on the power to avoid the turbo lag, but also don't wait too long to get on it. With Stoner also not requiring any lifting, Honda is an especially enticing place to pass. But this is a corner that lures drivers into sending it in too deep and outbraking themselves. Once again, the exit requires a light right foot, and then you get no rest before you find the car heading into Siberia. This is a bend you definitely want to late apex, or else you're going to find yourself at a disadvantage on your way to the top of the hill. There's no lifting through the S's, so just hug those apexes and then stay to the right to set up for the incredibly tricky loogie heights. You can carry a lot of speed on this never-ending corner, but don't drift wide on the exit because this bleeds directly into MG. The downhill braking of this hairpin makes it a common spot for drivers to lock up a wheel or just go off wide. The penultimate corner needs a little bit of tiptoe, but from here on to the finish line, your right foot is going to be all the way to the floor. Try to minimize how much speed you scrub off through Swan because you don't want the car behind to gain on you. But from there, if you've kept it together, you've now finished a lap around Phillip Island.
Well, Joe Peak doing what he can best, talking you around a lap Phillip Island circuit. Adam, though, how are we looking much closer at this track and car combination?
All right, Steph, we got rounding out this frustrate the GTOs portion of the season is Phillip Island Circuit. The picturesque 4.4 kilometer or 2.8 mile counterclockwise track features 12 turns, 5 to the right and 7 to the left. Like all of our tracks so far this season, there's not much banking in the turns until turn 10, making this another terrifying track for the Audis. While they slide around, the large GTP field this year will be trying to navigate the moving Audi roadblocks with their superior downforce and speed, while trying to not allow the bumps on the apexes to unsettle the car and spin the tires with their turbo lag. Multi-class wise, the avoidance factor once again will rely mainly on the Nissans, as the GTOs will need all of the track just to survive, but much less go fast around here. The Nissan's best chances to pass will be an over-under on the exit of each corner, as they should avoid going to the outside of the sliding Audis anywhere but the apexes at all costs. speaking of the GTPs, things are starting to spread out a little bit in that championship. How does that look, Steph?
Yeah, Adam, just after the first 2 weekends, we can already see a little bit of a trend here, as Justin Albrecht, 47 points ahead of Antti Lepistö, just 9 points behind Fabian Gerber, 10 points behind Rob Olenek. He's in 4th place of both of our 2 Saturday historic championships, and Arthur Iamaki rounds out your top 5, but there's only a little bit of a drop behind that 5th place. How are we looking at the GTO standings, Adam?
All right, so we got a Glacier Racing driver on the top. That is Joni Hagner in the lead of the GTOs right now, with Jamie Hall just 1 point behind. Then we have Michael Houghton in 3rd place. Michael Houghton, he's got just 2 points behind. And then the unfortunate Phillip Blake is 12 points behind because of his troubles that he's had the last couple of races, with Ove Trangarade rounding out your top 5. And if Phillip Blake wants to make up any points today, Steph, it's going to be difficult because it looks like those Glacier Racing cars are very fast.
Yeah, Phillip Blake, the horrible start to his campaign this season, but maybe he will turn this around. As he said, though, those 2 Glacier cars are looking mighty strong here today. In GTP right now, though, that's our first few times that we have gotten so far. Fabian Gerber ahead of Tobias Gerber, so the 2 Gerbers are in 1st and 2nd right now. Rob Olenek 3rd place for the GTPs as we start to get in GTO times. Daniel Sadger right now leading that ahead of Reed Miller and Wolf Dietrich Hoto. Right now we are looking at the number 4 of Fabian Gerber, who is going through Siberia right now. Nice and early on the throttle through there. A lot of banking to really help you in that GTP overcome that horrible turbo lag. Now going up Luki Hates. What can he do on his 2nd lap? Right now sitting still in 1st place at the 17.4, just ahead of his I think, if I remember correctly, they are brothers. The number 20 of Tobias Gerber and the 4 of Fabian Gerber coming through the last turn now. Fabian Gerber, what can he do on this last chance lap of his? Obviously a very long run down to the start finish line. This one's going to be a 1 minute, 17.656, and with that, not fast enough.
Taking a look down at the GTOs, it looks like Phillip Blake is just finishing his 1st lap, and that's going to put him, we're going to find out where that puts him in a moment. I believe he actually didn't finish that lap clean, so he's going to have to go around for another time, and that's a big deal, especially with the track temps we're seeing today, Steph.
Yeah, right now we're actually having 39 degrees Celsius on the track, so very hot right now. Obviously we are in the afternoon sky, so that will creep down ever so slightly as Joni Hagner comes around for his 2nd lap, right now sitting 29.090. And that he batters by 2/10 down to a 28.845. Still on pole he is. This time though around by 7/10. Villarola comes around 29.4. He does improve, but not enough, Adam.
Yeah, so that's going to place him in 2nd place unless Phillip Blake can do something amazing here. We're looking at Jamie Hall right now. Jamie is in the 3rd position, but this is his 2nd lap as well. But if Joni could improve, so could Jamie. So we're going to see what he can do here coming into the final sector.
A little bit sideways going into the penultimate turn of this lap. Let's see what he can do through this last turn. Obviously a very tricky corner for those GTOs to get right. A lot of understeer as he gets it right. Let's see what it's going to be. 29.6 to beat for him, and it's not good enough.
Phil Lake is the last one to come across the line here, and that's going to be him coming across. Let's see what kind of time he can put in.
Right now, obviously sitting with no time scored. It's going to be a 30.007. Only good enough for 5th place right now.
It's going to make things interesting for the start. We have a Glacier Racing 1-2. Then we have Jamie Hall in the Dirty Torque drivers as we take a look at Martin Craytree coming across for his 2nd lap. I believe that one was not an improvement, all right, Steph?
I think are right at that. Johnny Bell comes over the line. Not an improvement for him either. Ryan Lang coming across the line. He improves by 1 position from 16th up to 15th in the GTPs. We're looking at Antti Lepistö now. who is not having scored a lap yet, so number 2 most definitely under pressure on this one. It's a 17.8, not good enough for first, but good enough for 5th place.
That's really good, and I believe we only have 2 more cars out there right now. This is Mike Rudder we're looking at, and he's spinning out, so that's going to be a disqualified time. And then John Keefe was slow as well, so...
Phillip is still driving on his 2nd lap, but I don't think he has enough time. Only 35 seconds remaining for him. That's gonna be quite the run. 30 seconds remaining as he turns in for the last turn.
He lost a gear. He dropped a gear there. He missed a shift, so that's gonna probably destroy his time.
He was able to get across the line, so that was a 29.8 improvement by 2/10. Still, he sits in 5th place. John Keefe still would have been able to get in one of his laps, but he spun out of the last turn. I don't think he would have been actually able to get to the finish line in time. But with that, the clock runs out, and Fabian Gerber is confirmed ahead of your GTP field. Alongside him in the first row will be Steve Bycroft, Arthur Iamaki, and Tobias Gerber will be sitting in the 2nd row here today at Phillip Island. Antile Bisto and Rob Olenek conclude row number 3. Nicholas Mikanos is going to be sitting in 7th place alongside him. Dustin Herrera, the number 23 machine of Martin Treitschritt, will line up in 9th. Alongside him, the number 30 of Yannick Brenner, John Atkinson, going to sit in 11th place alongside Fabian Jungbluth. Just behind him, that will be Pablo Lumbrera Suarez. Robert Plumley in 14th today. Carlos Fonseca 15th. Ryan Lang in 16th. Kitty Engström in 17th. Roman Pawlowski will be sitting in 18th. John Keefe in 19th. And running out your 20-car field in the GTPs will be Mike Rudder.
Yoni Hagner's going to take pole in the GTOs alongside Billy Rolla, and then we have Jamie Hall in the 2nd row with Daniel Sadro. Philip Blake is going to be relegated to the 3rd row of Audis alongside Dennis Neidhart with Michael Houghton and Reed Miller side by side there in the 5th row. Then we have Esko Letaniemi and then Franco Scurry lining up side by side. Those two had a nice feisty fight last week, with both Dietrich Hotho lining up in the 7th row alongside Mika Kitakuro. Then we have Hideki Koivisto and Remigio De Pasqua lining up side by side with Joseph Erlbach and Dominic Bureau behind them. Then we have Jim McGill and Juan Ignacio Jaducha with Johnny Bell, Jamie Kingscott, Ryan Walker, Pablo Rangel, and Gareth Robichaud rounding out your GTO field.
With that, in total, 43 cars will take part here today. 20 GTPs and 23 GTOs. So most definitely that will be quite a hectic run through a lot of these corners, especially for the GTOs. And Adam, you already said it at the beginning in the track details. This is going to be quite the nerve test for a lot of these GTOs.
Yeah, definitely. This track is very slick, very hot, and also doesn't have a lot of banking. So what that does is it creates a really challenging position for the Audi GTO. It's not very good with the mechanical grip at high speeds, and so what that does is it ends up pushing the car out wide and putting a lot of stress on those tires. And especially with the high track temps we're seeing today, if you don't manage those tires, they could fall off at the end of the race and you could lose a lot of time. This is going to be one of those races where the Audi GTO is just going to be hanging on, trying to survive, and that makes for some pretty good racing stuff.
Well, I sure do hope so. In the next 40 minutes, you are most definitely going to be having a treat to watch here today. Obviously, in the GTPs, you will have the fight. Both Gerbers actually, against Ian Mackey and Steve Bycroft. Antile Pisto also there in 5th place. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure those 5 guys, maybe Rob Olenek will also have a say in that, will fight for this GTP lead until we will see them head into the GTO field for the first time. And that we might see who will come out on top already a little bit, because managing this GTO field will be key to being fast.
Yeah, Steph, another thing to talk about is that the GTOs will be coming at full speed out of the final sector, and they have significant drafts. So while we have 2 Glacier Racing drivers in the lead right now, they might struggle if they get drafted by the guys behind them. And so we can see a pass for the lead into the first 2 corners here in the first lap with the GTOs this race.
So both classes are packed with potential for great racing, but also a bit of a potential for great disaster. Especially don't forget about Phillip, who will most definitely look at making moves early to get up to those two Glacier cars. Obviously also he will have the help of his teammate Jamie Hall starting right in front of him in row 3. As the pace car heads off into pit lane, it is all in the hand of Fabian Gerber to make this start happen. He's going to be lining up on the right side here alongside Steve Bycroft. When is he deciding to go out of this last turn? He is waiting. Now he goes. Takes everybody by surprise, especially his brother. Tobias Gerber loses a lot of time there as the GTP field for the very first time heads into turn 1. A very long first straight. And everything plans out. Everyone goes into single file in the top 6.
It's a pretty decent start for the GTOs. Behind them, the Glacier Racing drivers got a really good start, but look at that. That's Jamie Hall to the inside of Willy Rolla. That's an amazing pass right there. And Joni Hagner starting to streak away, but Jamie Hall's really a close up behind them. They're doing pretty good right now getting into turn 2. Nobody's slid off the track just yet.
Into Honda, the GTP field goes for the very first time. Still, everyone in the top 6. Actually, the top 7 are all single file. Let's see how the GTOs manage this first Honda corner. And yep, seems quite nicely as well. No big dramas as of yet. Everybody is still racing.
Yeah, everybody's still racing. Joni Hagner showing that he's got significant pace. And Jamie Hall is being caught by Willy Rolla in the background for second place. That second place is going to be hotly contested between Jamie and Willy because Jamie knows that Willy's got a really good set. They've been putting in good laps in practice, and so he's going to have to do his best to defend that. Otherwise, Willy's going to get by, and those two Glacier Racing drivers. Here he goes. Here goes Willy to the inside.
More like a look than an actual pass right now. Jamie Hall defends that second place right now. Obviously, this is vital for Phillip, who can't. Well, right now he can't really follow his teammate of Jamie Hall. He has also his second teammate of Michael Houghton that is close to him, just 2 cars behind him. But right now, Phillip just can't cling on to that podium right now.
And I can report that Juan Ignacio Jorducha lost a little bit of time. He missed a shift, but look at this. That was Willy Rolla looking to the inside of Jamie Hall, unable to do anything about it though. Jamie able to hang on as they go into the second turn.
Up ahead in the GTP field, it is all about that fourth place battle right now between Antje Lepister and Tobias Gerber. They have just switched positions into turn 1, if I remember correctly, where Tobias Gerber lost that 4th place to Antje Lepister. So the Finn most definitely on the move right now as Arthur Iamaki, the second Finn in the top 5, nearly went off track in second place up Luke Yates.
I can report that Carlos Fonseca and Mike Rudder both blew it into the third turn, which allowed a lot of GTPs to get by, but they're now clobbered back at the back of the field. I mean, it looks like we had another...
Going down the front stretch for the second time to start lap 3, your GTP field right now is Fabian Gerber, your leader of that class, ahead of Arthur Iamaki. Steve Bycroft still in 3rd place, Antje Lepister 4th, Tobias Gerber 5th, and Rob Olenek rounding out your 6th top drivers in this GTP field right now.
Yeah, it looks like everything's starting to smooth out a little bit between all the classes right now. And yeah, taking a look right there, that's Fabian Gerber just under a lot of pressure, even in the lead.
Your GTO lead right now not as hotly contested, with Joni Hagner leading right now by 1.3 seconds. He actually just put in the new fastest lap for his class at 29.468. As Jamie Hall makes another mistake through South Bend, so he is really dropping and feeling that pressure from Willy Rolla.
Yeah, Willy Rolla is putting on a ton of pressure. He's got a lot more grip through the center of the corner, whereas Jamie Hall seems to be decent on the straights. But look at that, Jamie sliding wide at the apex. That's going to allow Willy to get a good exit here. But Willy, he's got nowhere to go, really, until they get back to the front straight. So unless Willy can be really aggressive here through this second sector, he's going to have a little bit of trouble getting by Jamie, and he's definitely getting held up now.
And even Phillip is able to get back up to these two, so that really speaks a lot right now. Billy Roller once again with a little bit of a look to the left side. Not really an attack, just getting Jamie to really look at his mirrors every single time he enters a corner, because one white and blue car might be sitting right there on his inside. As of right now though, Billy Roller just looking and not attacking.
But Philly's got to be very careful because Phillip, like teammate, is behind him, the teammate of Jamie Hall. So Billy actually gets a really good exit though. So here we go. We're going to go on board with Phil as he watches whether or not Billy can make a pass on Jamie here.
Goes to the right side. That's the preferred line for you in this first turn. Billy Roller tries to do it on the apex, but he really doesn't get a good drive. Jamie Hall now on the inside for turn 2. Billy Roller tried to turn in a little bit too much with that. He had to open up the steering again. Phillip nearly went to the inside there, but couldn't really attack him. So Billy Roller back into third place once again. Jamie Hall still able to defend that second place, and Phillip just tucked under that rear wing of Billy Roller. Now Jamie Hall makes the mistake. Passed, or does he? Yes, he can also get the run.
Oh!
Billy Roller misses the shift though.
Yep, that missed shift almost caused Phillip Blake to run to the back of him. Now we've got a little bit of contact between Billy and Jamie. Jamie's able to regain that position because of the mistake by Billy Roller. Everyone's making mistakes around here today.
Such a crucial time for him to not make a mistake, and he does it right there. That could have been him leading that pack right behind his teammate. Speaking also about a pack, that is what the GTPs are starting to catch. It's your GTO field, the end of the pack. Fabian Gerber coming up to a 3-car group now, just entering K-Shed.
Yeah, and he's got Ardo Iamaki right behind him. He's got to be really careful when he gets up here. Here they go! Oh my goodness, those Audi GTOs pulling over to the side of the road. Fabian Gerber not expecting to get, almost runs into the back of him, but he was able to get around. Let's see whether he can do the same with Jim McGill. Yes, he can.
Both of them go past him around the outside. Also, Steve Bycroft goes past him. So Jim McGill, not really a stepping stone for those top 3, but they split up the top 3 and Anti-Lepister. So he got caught out a little bit by Jim. As for the 5th time, they go down the front stretch at full speed.
I can report that Ryan Lang had a spin in the GTPs and Michael Houghton went off in turn 2 in the GTOs. So a lot of drivers are struggling with how slick this track is today, Steph. So it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not these drivers at the front can hang on.
Also hotly contested is the 5th place in the GTP field. That is right now Tobias Gerber versus Rob Olenek. They're side by side coming out of the southern loop. Who's going to get the drive here? Seems a little bit like Tobias Gerber here, but with the outside he loses a little bit of drive. On the inside now Olenek over braking a little bit, goes wide. That means Tobias Gerber once again back in front.
Oh, we had an incident between Fabian Jungluth and Carlos Fonseca. They were battling for 10th position in the GTPs, and they both got together and went off at turn 2. Let's see whether we can get a replay of this.
Let's see, there we go into replay. Our director has found the incident. There we can see the number 17. What is going to happen here? Fabian Jungluth on the inside, 3 wide there, and
yeah, he just got held up behind the Audis and then just got spun a little bit. So him and Angelica and Carlos Fonseca just getting together there.
a little bit of an unfortunate situation for all of them. As also now in P8, the battle is going on. That's Dustin Herrera and Yannick Brenner now entering Southern Loop. They're just behind Nicolas Mucanos, who's sitting in 7th place, one of the few Dirty Talk drivers in this series. Nicolas Mucanos got held up there by Johnny Bell in the GTO, which allowed Dustin Herrera to get back up to him. But nothing done into Honda.
It's a tight battle between all.
Oh, Fabian Gerber! Fabian Gerber just connected with Franco Scuri and into the barrier. Hard for him. That's Fabian's race done.
He had a good lead too. He was 1.5 seconds ahead. We're gonna go take a look at this replay, and it looked like Franco just washed out in the center of the corner, and Fabian did not anticipate it. Here we come.
Yeah, looks like a little bit of a mistake from Franco there. Just too much onto the curb, shot him out, and yeah, Fabian didn't, as you said, anticipate that. Very hard into the barrier he goes, and his race is most definitely compromised by that. I also saw a car spun out at MG. Dustin Herrera that was actually. He connected with 3 other GTP cars. One of them, Rob Olenek, so also that is quite big.
Oh, look at this. We have a battle going on right now with Villy Rolla and Jamie Hall. Jamie Hall to the inside of the hairpin. Here we go. Villy Rolla around the outside. Let's see whether he can make this work. It doesn't work. Jamie's able to cover it off.
And Phil Lake also looking a little bit racy in behind those two, not wanting to sit around behind them. Just can't get past either. Here now comes Artur Iamaki, who got the lead from Fabian Gerber. Nearly connects with Dennis Neidhart as he tries to lap him. Now he comes up to Luke Hates, where these 3 guys are also down into MG. Will he take one? No, he decides to stay behind.
That's the smart play. These 3 are definitely battling. You can see that just based upon the relative. So he knows that if he tries to go around these guys, he's going to be in trouble. Here he goes to the inside of Phil Lake, but he's going to be blocked by Villy Rolla and Jamie Hall ahead of him. Where's he going to go?
There he now goes to the inside, takes the smart move, but Steve Bycroft, a lot of steam he has also. But here comes Villy Rolla out of the draft of Jamie Hall. He gets not really the draft of Artur Iamaki because he's too close behind. Jamie Hall, though, he has to give up that second place as Villy Rolla finally gets past.
But now they're stuck on the inside of this corner where they like to wash out wide to get their speed. So Jamie Hall is able to get a better run here on Villy Rolla. He's going to look to the inside. Villy's going to block it off. So Jamie's going to have to try and find something else. He goes off track.
Oh, that's that. He does.
Oh!
He does avoid him. Tobias Gerber also gets a little bit of a scary moment there for him. But yeah.
I'm taking a look at this again. Villy Rolla just gets blocked on the inside of this corner, and he gets washed out wide into the marbles, and that sends him off track, and then he just cannot find the braking on that grass, and he's lucky that he didn't hit Villy Rolla there.
It kind of looked like Jamie Hall lost a little bit of footing, and because of that went into the marbles and eventually into the gravel trap. But yeah, that also is quite big for at least this race right now.
So during some of this chaos, Antti Lepisto's got a serious run on Steve Bycroft as he gets held up by Joni Hagner, the leader in the GTOs. And here we go, Antti Lepisto trying to make the move on Steve.
Side by side, they go over the line, still side by side through turn 1, Duhan corner. And finally, Antti Lepisto past Steve Bycroft, who seems to also have picked up a little bit damage on his left side of the rear wing.
Yeah, there aren't many GTPs that haven't picked up damage at this point. This is a really chaotic race for these GTPs. They have a serious speed advantage over the GTOs around here right now.
Especially through the extremely crucial last turn, those GTOs are so much, GTPs are so much faster through there than the GTOs, as Rob Olenek and Yannick Brenner are going off again down into Honda corner. Those two are fighting just behind 4th place GTO of Dennis Neidhart, as we're still looking at that 2nd place battle between Antti Lepisto and Steve Bycroft.
Oh my goodness, Ryan Lang just had a gigantic moment in the GTPs. He is upside down with no front end. This is a major wreck.
Well, it takes a lot to turn a GTP upside down. What happened there just connects with Hideki Koivisto, and ferocious crash there also gets collected by Robert Plumley, a Grip TV streamer if I'm not mistaken.
Can we get it on board with Robert during that? Because I think Robert got a really good view of this. Oh, Hideki he just didn't expect him there and sent him off.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for Robert and Ryan, as Anti and Bycroft are going off again. That still is your battle for second place. Steve Bycroft tried to have a little bit of a look inside at Honda. Didn't really work out for him though. Had to stick back. So Anti-Lepus is still your second place driver behind countryman Archer Yamato.
Yeah, Steve Bycroft is working really hard right now at trying to get back to Anti-Lepisto, but he has a lot less downforce on his car than Lepisto, so that means that he's faster on the long straights, but Anti-Lepisto is definitely better through the center of the corner, so that's making things really interesting. Now look at the speed difference here, Steph, on the straightaway. Steve Bycroft is up by a good 10 miles per hour on the straights, but it's just not good enough to get to the back of Lepisto before the next corner.
Yeah, just has to do it a little bit through the turns, it seems, and that's just where Lepisto is really strong. Getting better runs, and especially, I think also, Adam, that Aero Wash has to play a lot in that battle out of the last turn, as maybe now Gareth Robbishaw might be a little bit of a stone in the way of Anti-Lepisto, as he has to go around the outside at Siberia, but also Steve Bycroft has to do the same. Gets held up way more than Anti-Lepisto, so Lepisto actually able to profit from that.
Yeah, definitely. While these two are battling it out, we have another battle going on that's P5 in the GTPs. These guys are quite close to one another. They're also coming up on Gareth Robichaud, who we just saw Steve Bycroft and Tobias Gerber go around. And so these three are going to come up on Gareth probably within the next lap. Oh, goodness, that is John Atkinson Jr. going very wide over the top of the hill there.
John Atkinson still fighting there against Nicolas Makanos, one of the Dirty Talk drivers that I mentioned earlier. And the suite of Kitty Engström in that red and white Nissan in behind. John Atkinson a little bit too far back going into Duhan, so most definitely he will not be able to overtake. But here now comes Gareth Robbishaw. Let's see how these three handle Gareth, or what Gareth decides to do. He sticks on the inside, brakes a little bit to stay on the inside. Well done by Gareth. Doesn't hold up the other two, but most definitely into the corner. Nicolas Makanos was a little bit held up, which allowed John Atkinson to get back.
Whoop.
Goes to the inside. That's one dive bomb. And doesn't connect there, but John Atkinson really gets bogged down.
That was very, very close right there. They've got Jim McGill ahead of them. This is going to be another interesting thing to see whether they can navigate. This is going to be during a high-speed section.
And let's see, goes to the right side of Jim McGill. Jim McGill tries to hold the left side, does so beautifully, and all three go past unhindered. Let's see how they handle MG this time around. Lap 13 they're already on, nearly about halfway through this race. Only 2.5 minutes remain until we hit halfway, and there goes Nicolas Makanos nearly on the turbo leg, spins his tires. That's a lot of momentum lost. Here comes John Atkinson right under that rear wing, goes to the left side, side by side. Who's going to take it over the line? That still is Nicolas Makanos, but probably once come turn 2, John Atkinson will be passed. Let's see how he does hold the outside. Very weak on the outside. Very surprising, but into turn 2, southern loop, he gets hold of Nicolas Makanos and finally passes him.
Wow, that was a great move from John Atkinson. He had to hold it out there because Nicolas Makanos was able to regain speed once John Atkinson came out from behind him. So it looks like they might have a little bit of a headwind going into turn 2. Here comes Nicolas Makanos looking to the inside. John Atkinson moves over to try and block it, but that makes him go wide on the exit. But fortunately, Nick Makanos can't get the power down, so he's able to hang on to the position.
Up ahead, as we go to Phil and the Villa, that is for second place behind Joni Hagner. Let's see what happened there.
Yeah, this was a pass that just happened. I noticed that Phil was catching up to Billy. Oh my goodness, that was a blocked GTO in the middle of the road. Billy had to go off-roading to avoid it, and that allowed Phil Lake to get by.
That was Jamie Kingscott who got Hayshed all wrong. Got on the grass, spun out, also right in front of Carlos Fonseca. There we go, on board with Phil Lake, and that, Village Roller, and that just shows what rally capabilities even the road-going Audi GTO has.
We just had a major moment between Antilopisto and Steve Bycroft as they were trying to go around Remigio De Pasqua. Oh my goodness, and Tobias Gerber gets blocked off there.
Hideki Koivisto not looking where he's driving, or so it seems, as Tobias Gerber gets blocked by him. That means that he falls off a little bit by Antilepisto, but where is Steve Bycroft? Steve Bycroft dropped all the way down to just 4th place, so something happened there as well. As Tobias Gerber passed Steve Bycroft. That was, by the way, the battle that I wanted to mention as we went on to the replay between Villarola. Because those three, Antilepisto, Tobias Gerber, and Steve Bycroft, were nose to tail. Steve Bycroft at Lucky Hates just goes a little bit off track now. So right now, not really the time for Steve Bycroft. There's also the battle ahead of him for that 2nd place split spread out. So we're going to go back to our battle pack for 5th place. That's John Atkinson. Oh, sorry, wait. Yeah, we are right ahead of them. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong guys. Nicholas Mukanos versus Kitty Engstrom to the inside. We have learned that's not the preferred line for this GTPs. So Nicholas Mukanos able to defend that position very well. In behind, John Atkinson and Fabian Gerber are getting ready to catch these guys again as John Atkinson goes off track around the southern loop out of it. So he's losing momentum. Mukanos gets not held up by Hideki Koivisto. So he's able to defend his position in the front. Oh, yeah. Yannick!
Yeah, Yannick Brunner got actually punted by Rob Olnick, I believe, going into turn 2. We're going to take a look at it here.
Perfectly spotted there, Adam. You're gonna see there's Yannick Brenner going through turn 1. Lots of GTO traffic, and just Rob Olney completely misjudges that. Sends Yannick Brenner into the GTO of Johnny Bell. Yannick Brenner spins out and right into the marshal post. Actually, he stopped right in front of it.
Oh, so Steph, we just had a huge accident with the P10 battlers in the GTPs. We had a turbo lag incident coming out of one of the hairpins. This was major and involved Fabian Newblue.
Dustin Herrera, Pablo Lumbrera Suarez, and Fabian Newblue, all 3 involved into that. And yeah, you said it, the turbo lag caught out Pablo on the right side there, right into John Atkinson and Fabian Jungblut, and nowhere to go.
Oh, we had another wreck in that same group, Steph. They wrecked it again. That's Yannick Brenner spinning around now.
That was between Dustin Herrera and Pablo Suarez.
Oh. And they just did it again!
Yeah, I'm a little bit at a loss of words there because Dustin Herrera just dove into the inside the corner before, and yeah, Suarez
decided he wasn't going to take it, I guess.
Yeah, Suarez decided to just drive through him, didn't even lift nor brake there, so looks a little bit like retaliation from Suarez there. As in the GTOs, we are looking at P6. So that's Sadro, Jamie Hall, and Reed Miller as they get split by Steve Bycroft for just a split second. Also, not too far ahead of this battle is Michael Houghton, just 1.1 seconds between himself and Daniel Sadro.
Yeah, so this is Jamie Hall's attempt at a recovery drive right now. We saw Phil Lake do it last week. Phil Lake actually got passed by Billy Rolla again, so those two have swapped positions while we were watching the GTP battles. Here goes Jamie Hall to the inside.
To the inside he goes and takes beautifully that position. It shows how you overtake into Honda. Daniel Sadro down to 7th place.
Yeah, and I can report where exactly Phillip Blake lost the position to Billy Rolla. It was coming into Honda corner. He just outbraked himself, so Billy Rolla now ahead
Oh,
of
John
Phillip Blake.
Atkinson in behind! John Atkinson in behind, trying to overtake Reed Miller, just spun it out around Lukey Hates. Nearly into the back of Reed Miller as well. So 7th place driver John Atkinson lost his car there.
I think he was just trying to go around the outside, putting down a little bit too much power, or maybe he just had too much front brake bias there, or rear brake bias, and it just came out from under him.
It looks a little bit weird, but maybe he was a little bit spooked by that GTO ahead of him. Either way, Michael Howard now getting chased down by Jamie Hall instead of Daniel Sandro. And that gap only is now down to just 1 second between the two, so most definitely he is getting reeled in. Reed Miller really dropping off those 3 ahead of him, so it seems like Reed Miller not going to play too much of a role right now in this battle.
Well, the temperature has not gone down step. It's actually gone up by about 4 degrees here, up to 107 degrees Fahrenheit, 42 Celsius around here on this Australian track, and that's making it very difficult for these drivers.
Sorry, I was just watching Nicolas Mucanos and Fabian Gerber hitting pretty much a GTO roadblock going into Lukey Hates. Both had to check up, and Fabian Gerber nearly ran into the back of Nicolas Mucanos. Mucanos, your 5th place GDP right now. Obviously, Fabian Gerber a lap down on everyone, trying to do his best recovery.
And while we were watching that, we had a pass for P2 in the GTPs. I don't believe that Nick Mucanos is going to be caught here. He's able to hang on to it. Here we go. Let's see what happens here around turn 2.
Yeah, you but always said it until Episto. He lost the position to Tobias Gerber for that 2nd place. I think we actually have the pass. There we go. So let's see where that is. Is that Hayshed? It is. Hayshed going into Lukey Hates.
It's actually coming out of the final corner here. We're going to take a look at it right now. You're going to see it on screen. This is Tobias Gerber making the pass on Antti Lepisto. Antti just getting held up by Joni Hagner a little bit, and that allows Tobias Gerber to get around the outside, and Antti was not able to hold down the inside of the corner there, and Tobias able to get by before turn 2.
So traffic plays a major role in that pass. Still, Tobias Gerber now in 2nd place, just ahead of Antti Lepisto. By the way, Yannick Brenner, even though he has lost his front, and I don't think he knows because he can't actually see that front from your driver's perspective, he's still driving around and losing major time his last lap at 28.6, whereas Arthur Iamaki, for example, last time around at 21.01, so 7 seconds lost for Yannick Brenner.
We're taking a look on board with Phillip Blake, who's caught back up to Billy Rolla as Billy allows John Atkinson Jr. to go through. Then John almost went off track there through turn 2. But Phil, right on the back of Billy Rolla. Looks like Billy's starting to struggle on tires a little bit, Steve.
Yeah, you're saying it really does look so. He's very unnervous. He's very nervous on his rear tires as Phil goes to the outside of Honda. Can't make it stick though. So Billy Rolla still in 2nd place. Seems though that is only for a temporary time, as Phil a lot stronger.
Michael Houghton just spun out into the Honda hairpin. This is major incident for him, considering he was running in the 5th position.
Did he have help there?
I think he got pushed wide by Reed Miller, who was on his inside.
Yeah, Daniel Sandro. Actually, I would actually say that Houghton turned in a little bit too much and thus made contact with Sandro. Either way, that is the 2nd time we see a Dirty Talk driver being off in the gravel there on the outside of the 3rd turn.
We're actually going to look at a pass right now. Billy Rolla is trying to defend against Phil Lake on the straight, and Billy very aggressive defending, so Phil is going to send it deep into turn 1. Let's see if they can hang on to it and hold this position for turn 2.
Through Doohan, they go side by side through the southern loop. Once again, side by side on the apex of the turn, though Phil Lake finally gets past Villarola, so Phil Lake into second place with Villarola very much struggling on the tires. This all is happening, but only 16 seconds behind the fin of Joni Hagner.
Yeah, now Phil Lake struggling with his tires as he tries to exit the Honda loop here. It's not going to work very well for him. He's got to be very careful as he goes through Siberia not to spin those tires too much. Otherwise, he's going to give Billy a good opportunity going over the top of the hill.
41 degrees Celsius seems to be the breaking point for these tires here in the land down under. Villarola very deep on the brakes here into Lucky Hates, but not able to do anything on the inside of Phil Lake, as Phil Lake still ahead going into MG. Very, very downhill braking zone for these guys, struggling on the brakes as Phil Lake gets a better drive out of turn 11, turn 12 now, the final turn. They managed to do that perfectly for the 20th time.
Yeah, Villarola actually got a better run than Phil Lake, so Phil's going to have to be defensive here. Which lane does he pick? He decides to stay to the outside. Phil's got to go to the inside. Here we go through turn 1.
Once again, Phil Lake deep into Doohan makes it work. Once again, Villarola not getting past this time as Fabian Jungblut comes up to them. 9th place position for him in the GTP field.
He just barely hung on to that on the outside there, but he was able to make the pass just fast as they did.
Villarola has to run on Honda, but not able to do so. Oh, Philip Lake very sideways going on the brakes there, but holds his line, holds back Villarola for another tap into Siberia. They go nearly a touch from Villarola on the bumper of Phil Lake, but everything is good.
We're going to go back up to P5 in the GTPs with Kitty Engstrom trying to make his way past Nicholas Makanos. He's been struggling a little bit and trying to break the draft of Kitty Engstrom, but Nick Makanos is able to do it really well on the turns, but he is starting to lose his tires too, so all these drivers starting to deal with tire wear as we get into the final 8 minutes of this race. It's starting to look like a real struggle out there for the drivers as these two start to catch traffic.
And that's going to be a lot of traffic that they catch. First, the sole car of Ramir Di Pasca, and then it's a total of, oh wait, that's 2 GTOs and then 3 GTPs. Those 3 GTPs are Fabian Gerber, Steve Mycroft, and who was the third car? That was John Keefe. As now they head through Hayshed, right behind Dominic Bureau in his spec race of 4 delivery on an Audi. Gets a little bit held up, Mukanos does by Hideki Koivisto. Not opening anything for Kitty Engstrom though. Let's see who gets the better run. Kitty a little bit on the marbles, so not a very good run out of turn 11 for him, as only 7.5 minutes remain in this motor race.
And Steve, we just had another pass for P2 in the GTPs with Antti Lepisto going back by Tobias Gerber. And this was not due to traffic, this was due to raw pace. Antti Lepisto's pace is much better than Gerber's here late in the race, but they're coming up to traffic.
Let's have a look. Oh, Tobias Gerber just went wide at Honda as we go on to the replay. And Lepisto got spun out, so we have to stick on that replay probably for that incident at Honda. There's the pass now from Lepisto on Gerber, as he said, just purely on pace. Down into turn 1 was passed already once they even got to turn 1. And you're gonna see out of turn 2, Lepisto not really with a good drive. Nose gets a little bit held up by traffic. Down into Honda, and that's where it seals the deal.
Yeah, we're going to take a look here. This is Antti Lepisto. He's coming up on traffic, and then we're going to see Tobias Gerber lose it coming onto the outside. But then Antti Lepisto, take a look at him. He goes to the inside here and then gets clipped by the Audi GTO and gets sent off track. So that's both of them off track, and they're still nose to tail as we come back out of this replay.
Yeah, going out of turn 12, Tobias Gerber just behind Anti-Lepiste. Not a good enough run though from Gerber, but it seems like that Anti-Lepiste has a lot of damage to his undercarriage because he is slow on the straight.
Yeah, and so Anti-Lepisto definitely has the pace in the turns, but Tobias Gerber seems to have the pace on the straights as they come into more traffic, which is Michael Houghton and Reed Miller, the battle we talked about a little bit earlier in the race. We're going to see whether or not Anti-Lepisto can navigate through these or whether it gives an advantage to Tobias. Here we go!
Round the inside for Houghton for Lepiste. Tobias Gerber once again goes a little bit too deep into Honda. Anti-Lepiste thus to have it a second time. Has to do it the second time. There we go. As who is that? That's Robert Plumley being spun out of Siberia. As all of them go past, there's also GTP. Jamie Hall is smoking. What happened to Jamie Hall?
Jamie hit Robert Plumley. Jamie hit Robert Plumley when he was spun out.
That is a major for Jamie Hall. He was 5th place driver in this race.
This is going to be rough. We're going to go on board with Jamie Hall. I'm pretty sure he just had nowhere he could go. He's pulled it over. He's towing. That's the end of his race.
Yeah, quite honestly, he didn't see either because of all that smoke. There you saw it. And Jamie Hall, unfortunate for him, right into the engine. And just a corner later after Hayshad entering Luke Hay. It blew up. Back up to the battle for second place. Anti-Lepiste was able to get around Daniel Sadler. Tobias Gerber majorly held up by him. That allowed lap car of Fabian Gerber to come up to him. So let's see if Fabian Gerber actually stays behind his brother of Tobias Gerber if he decides to pass him.
We're taking a look at the battle between Phillip Blake and Billy Rolla. These two still cannot get away from each other. Phil now looking like he's struggling on tires with Pablo Morales Suarez coming up behind them, going around the outside. He's got a damaged GTP. And here comes Billy Rolla. He's going to try and navigate this. Suarez looking to the inside of Phil Lake. Phil's going to cut it off there. He's going to take his line. And Pablo slow off the corner. That's going to allow Phil Lake to snake away a little bit.
Gerber and Lepiste. What happened to Lepiste? Lepiste went off track. Luki Hates had a big moment there, which allowed Tobias Gerber to get past, and also Steve Bycroft has re-entered the stage for that second place battle.
And Anti-Lepisto just saved his race by going off track there. He was about to slip away, and his car was about to spin, and he was able to twitch and save it. As we take a look at Tobias Gerber going by, but now Anti-Lepisto's back up to the back of Tobias Gerber, and Steve Bycroft is right on the back of him as well. So this battle for second is now a 3-car battle.
And the interesting part will be now Fabian Gerber. He has passed Tobias, so Tobias doesn't have a buffer in his brother as...
That was contact. That was contact with Dennis Neidhart and Fabian Gerber ahead of this battle for second. Dennis Neidhart looking like he's more of a roadblock right now than a car to get past. Let's see what happens right now with Tobias Gerber. How's he going to handle this?
Oh! Dennis Neidhart doesn't care that there's a battle behind him. Just slides across the face of Tobias Gerber. Nearly gets run over by Tobias Gerber, though Anti-Lepiste was able to catch him. Dennis Neidhart nearly also ran off track at Hayshad. Oh, up ahead, actually just Phil Lake got passed by Dennis Herder, which slowed him down against Villarola. Villarola also got slowed down. This is all kicking up right down that front stretch.
Welcome to the end of an Audi GTO race. These camel races are insane right now. Phil Lake getting held up by a lot of traffic. There's even more traffic behind Billy Rolla. That's Steve Bycroft and Yannick Brenner, who's just coming out of the pits. Here we go.
So much going on everywhere to look at, and just we can only put up one camera at a time. Steve Bycroft goes around the inside of Phil Lake. Phil Lake gets held up a little bit, which allowed Villarola to come back into this. So those two aren't done fighting yet, but it seems Phil Lake most definitely has now the better tires than Villarola. up ahead of them. The 3 cars of Tobias Gerber, Antti Lepistö, and Steve Bycroft still fighting, although they got stretched out by that battle of the GTOs. As a little bit further up the road, actually just out of turn 12, Joni Hagner is now going to take the white flag. Arto Iamaki has already taken that one. He's just up the road from Joni Hagner. So our 2 GT leaders are already on their last lap.
Yeah, and this battle for second is not done. Antti Lepistö, Steve Bycroft are right behind Fabian Gerber for the GTP lead. This is very intense stuff. They're going past Dustin Herroder. Here comes Antti Lepistö looking at the inside of Tobias Gerber. It's not going to work out for him this time, but he's still got another straight to go and then a hard braking zone. What can he do on the exit? He goes a little bit wide, but he hangs on to it.
I knew one of us would make the mistake at one point, but they're actually behind Tobias Gerber, not Fabian Gerber. So 50-50 chance, and sadly you have missed it, as did Antti Lepistö, but he did miss the breaking point right there through Honda.
Looks like Steve Bycroft actually has the measure of these 2 guys, but it's the last lap. There's nowhere where he can go. There's nowhere where he can pass. If he's going to do something here with Antti Lepistö, he's going to have to make it happen really quick. And with this traffic that's ahead of them, Tobias Gerber is closing up, and he's going to have to deal with it first.
Closing up is also Arto Iamaki to the start-finish line as he heads through turn 12. Arto Iamaki now goes under the Melbourne Bridge to win the round 3 at Phillip Island Circuit here in a Kamel GT Championship. Joni Hagner, now the same thing for him. He comes out of turn 12, but where is the battle for second place? It's just behind him as Joni Hagner finishes just behind him. Also Tobias Gerber held off Antti Lepistö over the line. So second place for Tobias Gerber ahead of Antti Lepistö. Fourth place, Steve Bycroft.
And it looks like Phil Lake's going to hold off Billy Rolla for that position, but we are looking at the battle between Martin Krajcik and Carlos Fonseca for 10th place of the GTPs. Fonseca right on the back of Krajcik. He's going to look to the inside here. No, he's not. He's going to hold off. Now he's got to try and make it go happen around the last second.
That's all happening just behind the blue and white car of Fabian Jungblut. Let's see who is going to do it through the last turn. Krajcik has the door open. Carlos Fonseca tries, but not good enough for him. So Martin Krajcik right now the leading car of those 2, and he's actually going to take away that 10th place from Carlos Fonseca.
What an impressive drive from everybody today. Very tough track. Great work from them.
And as the last few cars are trickling over the line here in Australia, the show is far from done. We're gonna step aside for just a few moments to take a breather, but we will be quickly back for the post-race show, where we will run you down the unofficial finishing order, talk to some of the drivers, and close off an eventful race. So don't step away too far, as GSRC will be back after these messages. welcome you all back to the Kamel GT post-race show streaming to your home on the global SimRacing channel. And first up on the order, it's the unofficial finishing order, which is led by RGE making 16.5 seconds. He finished ahead of Tobias Gerber, one of the two Gerbers, but I would nearly say not the one we expected to be on the podium. Phillip is the third place for him, ahead of Steve Bycroft in fourth. Then a very strong race for Kitty Engström, who started in 17th, up to a top 5 finish. Nicholas McCann, 6th place. John Atkinson, 7th place for him. Rob Olenek, only an 8th place for him, so he most definitely will be disappointed about this one. Fabian Jungblut in 9th place. Martin Tretrick, your last car in the top 10, finishes, started from 9th, so he lost one position in his race. On the next page, you will see Carlos Fonseca being the last car that did finish on the lead lap in 11th. Roman Pawlowski, miserable race for him this time around, only in 12th place. Mike Ruder in 13th. He gained 7 positions from his 20th on the starting grid. And then the big disappointment this race, it's Fabian Gerber. After a big mistake through Hayshed, he lost the lead, nearly crashed out. 1 lap down, he finishes in 14th place. Pablo Lumbrera Suarez, 15th for him. And running out your 16 cars that have finished ahead of the GTOs is by Dustin Herrera.
One note about Fabian Gerber is that Justin Albrecht was not here today, so Fabian not losing that many points to Justin, unfortunately. Our leader and winner in the GTOs from pole to win is Joni Hagner, followed by Phillip Lake, who managed to claw his way back up to 2nd place. Billy Rolla comes home in 3rd today, then Dennis Neidhart in 4th. Daniel Sadler coming home in 5th in the GTOs with Reed Miller behind him in 6th. Then we have Michael Houghton and Esko Letaniemi coming home in 8th position, with Franco Scurry and Mika Kivipuro finishing out your top 10 in the GTOs. Then it's Hideki Koivisto in 11th, Wolf Dietrich Hotto in 12th, Emilio DePasco comes home in 13th with Pablo Rangel in 14th. Joseph Erlbach comes home in 15th position with Juan Ignacio Jorducha coming home in the 16th position. And we have Johnny Bell in 17th and Gareth Robichaud in 18th. Jim McGill comes home in the 19th position, and Jamie Hall 20th, Dominic Bureau 21st, Ryan Walker 22nd, and Jamie Kingscott 23rd. And we have Robert Plumley, John Keefe, and Ryan Lang, who did not finish in their GTPs.
So a lot of cars to talk through, one driver to talk to. It's Phil Lake, your 2nd place finisher in the GTO field. And Phil, you really had to work for this one. First of all, being sent behind your teammate of Jamie Hall and Villarola. How did you plan this race going forward from knowing that you're getting held up a little bit by those two fighting?
I was pretty concerned with my pace, actually, coming into the race. I was kind of worried that my pace was really going to drop off towards the end. And so I sat behind Jamie and Vil at the start, kind of anxious to get past them to stand a chance later in the race. But it actually turned out the other way around. I think, well, my pace dropped off, but I think less so than Vil's did. So it made for a good fight at the end there.
It sure made for a great fight. Just one problem. You only passed one Finn, so you're still losing some points to Joni Hagner, sadly. But at least beating one Finn must feel quite good.
Yeah. Joni was on another level today, as usual. And it was nice to have a battle with Vil. He's usually up there with Joni, so we dragged him back down to our normal human levels of racing today.
Well, 19 seconds in total you finished behind Joni Hagner today. Still, I would say you showed some great potential, and if you get better with your pace earlier in the week, I think you might be there with Joni Hagner once again next week.
Yeah, I hope so. I'll try as hard as I can. We'll see what we can do.
Well, Phil, thank you very much for talking to us, and once again, congrats on your 2nd place finish.
Thanks, guys.
As next up, it's going to be Joni Hagner talking to Adam Lindgren.
Joni, a commanding victory today, but it wasn't without a little bit of concern. How was the traffic out there today racing?
Well, the traffic was pretty good, and the nice Nissans were very patient in some part of the tracks where they need to be.
And man, you had the pace on the rest of the field. What was your secret today? Was it setup related, or do you just understand this circuit a little bit better than most people?
Well, there was that money race here last year. Oh, this year, yeah. But I have a lot of practice and a really good setup for this track. So, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely showed. And with your teammate battling with Phil Lake behind you, were you able to cruise towards the end of that race and manage your tires, or were you going all out the whole time?
Actually, I would have done my personal best lap of the race on the final lap, but I missed the gear on the second last corner. So
Definitely.
So-
Well, Yoni, yeah. Fantastic race, Yoni. And is there anyone you want to thank before you go today?
yeah, thank you for Esko and Will for good company during the racing. Yeah.
Well, fantastic win today, Yoni, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
That was Yoni Hagner. And next up, we have Reed Miller, who's going to be talking to Steph.
Yeah, and Reed finishing just outside the top 5 within 6th place, just only side row in front of you for that 5th place. It must feel just a tiny little bit disappointing knowing that you were so close and fighting so hard for the 5th place, yet just shy of getting it.
Yep. That was the second race of the week that Daniel just beat me by a little bit, so I was really looking for that one. I was getting close, but a little disappointed in that one for sure.
Still, though, I don't think you can have a much quieter race, traffic-wise. How did it feel for you out there today?
It was good. I mean, lots of cars, so it's very exciting, I think, for everyone. I think you kind of have to give a little bit of extra space and make your intentions more clear on this kind of small track. So I think it worked out pretty good for me. No problems really with anybody.
Speaking about a small track, that's not what we're gonna go up next, because we're gonna go to the Nordschleife. It's actually the Industriefahrten, so only the Nordschleife itself. And if I remember correctly, you guys are not even gonna get led by the GTPs. So how are you looking forward to that one?
Well, Nordschleife is one of my favorite tracks for sure, so definitely going to have a lot of fun next week. Yeah, it depends on the race length if we get lapped. But I think if it's a normal race, then they actually don't get to us, so it's a bit unique in that regard. So yeah, looking forward to it very much.
Well, Reed, thank you very much for talking to us, and yeah, good luck next week.
All right, thanks. Take care, guys.
That was Reed Miller, 6th place finisher of today, and with that, we don't have anyone else that really wanted to go up to us and talk about their race. So with that, GSRC would like to thank everyone on the track today for a great show, and especially the Kamel GT community for contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Right now on your screen you can see all of the companies that provide us with their great hard and software GSRC uses to deliver you the best possible show. Additional thanks goes to June Van Lont, who provides us with her great masterpieces. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, please visit us at the globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also find us on social media platforms, Twitter with @GSRChannel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, and or on Instagram at GSRC_Grab. All of the upcoming races for our other series are now sliding across your screen, so check them out and mark them down on your calendar to not miss another second of exciting racing action. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, Adam, Sean, and Dougie, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in as Arto Iamaki took away the victory in Victoria. With that said, until next time, servus and sayonara! And as always, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you